There we go.
Well, good morning. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Q&A. And it's been a little while since Mike and I have done this together. But I'm Joe. I'm one of the pastors here at Westway. And this is Mike, and he is also one of the pastors here at Westway. And he is checking to see if we're actually live or not.
Making sure our feed is going there. Did you see what the message said on there? Because I didn't catch it.
I couldn't read it, no.
Well, welcome to September.
Wow. Already.
It's crazy. It doesn't seem like time has gone that fast. It shouldn't possibly be September yet, but it is. So.
Yet, when I look back over this summer and this fall,
Right.
Where did it go? And all the things that happened and changes that happened.
It's funny how that works both ways.
Yeah.
How did it go so fast, and how is it still 2020 at
Yeah.
the same time?
It seems as though it has drug out, and that was just a message from the kids. So if you're watching this and the sound sounds good to you, please let us know.
By the time they do, it might be too late.
It might be too late.
When I checked it, it was coming through okay. So hopefully we'll talk loud enough that everybody can hear and have something worth saying. We didn't have any questions this week, so I think we're going to have to change the name of this from Tuesday Q&A to something else, because if we don't have any questions, then it's something else. So this is going to be something else.
This is Tuesday Conversation.
So, if you weren't here this last Sunday, John wrapped up the whole last year of the Ephesians series, talking about the question, what kind of wife are we? As we think of the church being the bride of Christ. And I thought it was funny how he started with the proverb about a quarrelsome wife. Being like a dripping faucet, or just that constant nagging drip, 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 really annoying. And we don't want to be that kind of a body. We don't want to be that kind of church, because that's not what Jesus deserves us to be or desires us to be.
Right.
And he contrasted that with, we want to be a church that gathers, gives, serves, and goes, and kind of unpacked each of those different aspects of what we do as the church and who we are as the church. Yeah.
Yeah, and in his message Sunday morning, John was sharing about opportunities to serve and how we show. We've talked about in the last year, off and on, how when we show how much we love each other and how much we love God by what we do. And One of the ways that we can show that is by serving here at Westway and elsewhere also. And
So
go ahead.
John was telling me, by the way, John made it to Cedar Rapids. For those of you that know, he was heading out. The van was loaded up basically to eye level, from the driver's seat all the way to the back. So that was pretty cool to see. I usually drive the van full of kids. John's driving the van full of stuff right now.
You know, I was thinking about that. It's not moving near as much from side to side for him.
Yeah, I bet when he stopped at the red light, everybody didn't go like this.
Yeah.
So anyway, he made it to Cedar Rapids. He's out there now. Spend a couple days kind of touching base with the church out there that we're donating stuff to, and then he'll head back. But just kind of a quick update as far as that little bit of service that we have done. That's in process, and I'm sure John will tell us a lot more about that after he gets back. but as he was speaking Sunday, he talked a little bit about different opportunities to serve, like you said. And we really want to make sure that we're making space here at Westway for every person to be engaged in the mission of Christ in some way. And he really hit on that idea. And I was talking to John this morning, and he said in a conversation with his son John, the question came up about, but how do people do that? Like, what's in place to help people identify ways to serve? And so we want to talk about that a little bit today, and touch on a couple things. So last year we made up these sheets with a whole bunch of different, like each different ministry team, and I brought about half of them in here just to kind of visual aid here. Those are not giant Monopoly cards. But each of these has a list of ways that anybody can serve in some of the different ministry areas here at Westway. And some of those areas are like anybody can do it. Some of those areas are after you've been here and know who we are as Westway.
Yeah.
Those are things, and we know who you are. Those are other areas that you can enter into. Some of those areas are areas that require some special training, and we'll talk a little bit more at length on some of that stuff. But we try to have every level of opportunity, from entry level to more time intensive and training necessary types of things.
And some of them would require probably little biblical knowledge, or maybe even no biblical knowledge, and some of them may require an abundance of biblical knowledge.
Right. If you show up on day one, you say, I want to help. How can I help? I'm not going to have you teach the high school kids on that Wednesday night.
Right.
Partially because I just don't know.
Yeah.
And partially because maybe you don't know what would need to be known in order to teach. But you're probably totally capable of holding open doors, greeting people, welcoming people. There are all kinds of things that anyone can help with. And so I would say we're still in the process of, I think it's a continual process of identifying those things and then helping people understand, where can I serve? Because it would be really, really crummy of us to lay out this big spiel about how every person needs to serve and then not give you any opportunity to serve. And so we want to make sure that we're doing that, and we're encouraging each of our team leaders to be a part of that process and be a part of the recruiting process. I know a part of your new duties, I guess, in your new position is outlining more of a process for how that is going to happen and how that does happen. But the bottom line, I just wanted to touch on this really quick from Romans 12. In Romans 12, Paul was helping the Roman church to kind of discover some of this same stuff. He encouraged everybody to make themselves a living sacrifice. And he said, in his grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. And really the bottom line here is God has crafted you for service on his mission. Not my mission or Joe's mission, or this isn't according to Westway's agenda.
Right.
God has crafted you for service in his kingdom. And part of our role is helping people discover and then become better equipped for that work that he has created them for.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that happens just by experimentation. I'm going to try serving in this area. And I think sometimes we're afraid of sort of like my grandma, she taught a Sunday school class for more decades than I've been alive. When she was younger, she taught the little kids and she taught kids Sunday school classes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a lady in my first ministry who she taught the nursery every week for probably 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're afraid of that.
Yeah.
Like if I volunteer for this, am I going to get stuck there for the rest of my life or guilt tripped every time I want to shift to something different? And what we want to do is set up a dynamic where, here at Westway, we're willing to try things,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there's a risk that it might fail.
Yeah.
And we respond to God in faith by sometimes trying something that we're not sure is going to work or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going to be a great greeter, so I'm just going to not. What we would encourage you is let's try it and find out.
I would say there's some venues, like Mike said, there's a lot of opportunities where you can step in and do something without a lot of experience. One of the areas that we have discovered people that do enjoy doing things is like in VBS. There's a lot of different areas where you can help serve in VBS. And we've had a lot of people that have said, well, I'll try VBS. That's just for a weekend, or that's just for a week. And then they found out, you know what, I really do like working with kids.
Yeah.
And you know what, I had fun doing crafts or whatever that is. And from there, then they were more encouraged to get into a little more regular service in that way. I would use another example too. Mike talked about people are afraid of being stuck there. And obviously we don't want you to be afraid of being stuck there. And honestly, we want you to serve because you want to serve. And because God is calling you to serve. You're feeling that God is asking you to do something like that. What I've seen that's really been a blessing for me is there are some individuals who have found that this is it for them. And I have an aunt, Aunt Betty, who was teaching Sunday school for over 60 years. And as she got older, her health made it so she couldn't do it all the time. But the desire was so deep within her to continue in that she sacrificed a lot to continue in that because she felt God was calling her to do that.
Yeah, and that's that same idea from Romans. Make yourself a living sacrifice.
Right, yeah.
Offer your body, yourself, to God.
Yeah.
This is your spiritual service of worship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she wasn't doing that out of a sense of guilt.
No, not at all.
If I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it.
In fact, if I didn't let her do it, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, I remember a few times when somebody else had come and they were like, I would help with that. And and she was kind of like, well, don't you dare replace me.
Yep.
I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was it's a great example of someone who was gifted to serve and willing to serve and found that place where this is where I want to serve.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we have a lot of opportunities here at Westway. And we thought today it would be a good idea to just kind of share some of those opportunities. We're not going to go into detail because like Mike showed you the cards there's a bunch of them. But Mike, you oversee the youth and the family ministries. Just off your head, kind of, could you share some of the opportunities that are there?
Sure. Every Wednesday night right now, our junior high and high school are meeting back together again. And We have people who lead music. We have people who run sound system and computer. And a lot of this the students do. And it's really fun to see the students learning that in that context.
Yeah.
And then transferring that over, working with the whole body.
Yeah. Sunday morning we had one of your youth up on stage on praise team Sunday morning. Abby was up there.
Yeah, we had a student on stage.
Yeah.
We had a student on the camera. We had.
Yeah.
I don't remember if there was a student in the sound booth this week. There was the week before.
Well, it depends on how far back you go with the student part.
And we had a student in the wee ones with the 2 and 3 year olds. We really do hold out service as a pretty high value. And so when I talk about serving opportunities on Wednesday nights, I don't want adults to come in and do everything, but we do need adults who can come alongside students and help them focus on learning to do everything. The ministry that happens through them, not just around them. And I think that's something that we need to be careful of. But we do have a lot of things too that I do want adults there for small group discussion times where you sit at a table with 3 or 4 or 5 kids, depending on how big the table is and social distance right now. And lead some discussions around whatever the topic is that night. We need people to make sure that every student that comes in is welcomed and finds a familiar face, not just a familiar place.
Right.
And that's just Wednesday night. We have, at some point as things open back up, we'll be doing Sunday morning classes again, where we have all ages needing teachers and group leaders. We have, right now, we don't have children's ministry on Wednesday night. Part of that is because we backed out with Corona regulations in March, but then summer came and we don't usually have children's ministry in summer on Wednesday nights. Well, now they're back to school and a little more interacting in their community anyway. So we're trying to find where's the balance between adding to that and doing that safely. But when that time comes, we will need adults to lead those groups. And that's everything from, I would say, kindergarten to 5th grade.
Maybe even nursery, because there's small groups that meet.
We're wanting to get small groups going on Wednesday nights, which we can always add more small groups. And so needing people to lead small groups for the congregation as a whole. As we talk about what are the opportunities to serve, there really are so many. Our tech team right now is expanding like crazy because that's how we are responding. We have added video ministry stuff. We've added the live feed that we do. Right now, there's a small core of people that is handling all of that load, and it's a big load that they're handling every week. And for them to be able to train a few other people to share that load with them on a week-to-week basis would be incredible. Redesigning our stage every once in a while. We have a team of people that does that. And we have another stage over here in the youth area that we're also, we redo that every once in a while. It's been a while. We haven't redone that lately. Because we haven't been using that room much lately. We've been outside all summer long and different people's houses and stuff. And for that matter, every summer we meet at different people's houses and we need people to host groups of junior high and high school kids at their houses. Whether that's cooking hot dogs over a fire or I know we had like lasagna and a few tacos, different things all summer long, but
too close to lunch to start talking about food right now.
I know. We'll jump right through that one really fast. We need people to run check-in tables, both for kids on Sunday morning And we need people to greet new people and gather a little bit of information from new people. There are so many different things.
I've got a long list here, and he's going right down it and hasn't even seen it. Yeah, and there's things like kitchen help. When we have an event or something like that, we have a team that lines up the workers in the kitchen. We've got a coffee shop that as we get out of the restrictions or regulations that they're recommending for us, we want to open that back up soon, and so people to help serve in the coffee shop. There's when we have funerals, more and more there's less involvement of the funeral homes, and the churches end up carrying a lot of that load then, and so we kind of need to put together people that can help with a funeral and the meals that would accompany that. So we've got a team to do that. Groundskeeping around the outside of the building. We've got 2 gardens and a huge vegetable garden. That there's a team of people that works daily in that garden and brings in tomatoes after tomatoes after tomatoes every day right now. If you need tomatoes, come see us.
That could be your biggest act of service right now. Come get some tomatoes.
We have a flower garden that needs upkeep, and we could use more people helping there.
I think literally anything that you're interested in can be put to use for the kingdom of God here at Westwood. And not just for the benefit of Westway, but for the benefit of our community. Because that's where we can show our community so much about who God is in how we serve each other and how we serve them. I don't want to hit on too much of that. Sorry, I had a train of thought that I'm not going to follow, and I know I've been told I shouldn't tell people when I have those, but I just did, so I apologize. There are so many ways to serve, and I guess I would just say, let's say I'm somebody who has been coming for a couple months, I've gotten to know people, I'm familiar, I'm comfortable here, I want to help. Who should I talk to?
Yeah.
How do I gain the trust of, and this is really where part of what we're working out is different jobs require different levels of responsibility and different levels of trust. Mm-hmm. And so how do I gain the appropriate level of trust to serve in whatever area I ultimately would like to serve in?
Yeah. I would say there's a couple of ways. We haven't really, as we start up and regather with a lot of these different groups and these teams, one of the things that we are encouraging our team leaders to do is to look for those who have an interest in where they're serving. And so if you have an interest in a specific area, and you see somebody serving there, go to that person that you see serving there and say, how can I be a part of this team? They will probably send you back to me. Possibly. Depending upon what it is, yeah. Or they may introduce you to their team leader.
Yeah.
And that's what we're really hoping is that they will direct you to their team leader and say, let's just use Billy as an example. Billy's interested in serving, and he'd like to come along with me to serve alongside me for a little while. Would that be okay? And so that team leader would say, well, these are the things that need to happen in order to serve in this area. Do you feel comfortable to do that? And there'd be a little interview there, but that's an easy way to get involved in something. And depending upon where it is, if it's in children's ministry, there's a screening process that you would have to go through, and background checks and things like that would need to be done in a lot of areas. But the team leader can help you to find out how to do that.
Yeah, so I would say one thing that's really important to point out of that is a lot of our service, not only does it grow out of just how God has crafted us, it also grows out of our relationships.
Yes.
So if you want to serve in an area, get to know the people that serve in that area.
Yeah.
Hang out with them and learn to do what they're doing, and ask them, how can I help?
Yeah. How did you get involved?
And if you're serving in an area, who are the people that you have a relationship with that you might be able to bring into service with you?
Yeah. That's what we really want to look at.
On Sunday, John talked about gather, give, serve, and go.
And go, yeah.
And we're talking about the serve thing, but when we say gather, we don't just mean come into this building on Sunday morning.
Right.
When we're saying gather, we're really talking about how are we building relationships with one another, and how are we then utilizing those relationships to explore different opportunities to serve and give and go together.
Yeah. It's interesting how oftentimes a small group will be together and they'll see a need and they'll go and say, hey, our small group would like to help here. And that started with them gathering together and having discussion about what's going on, and somebody saying, what if we were to help with that?
And I think the opposite is true as well. I think we have teams of people that have been serving together, like in the tech ministry, for example.
Yep.
Who function as a small group.
Like a small group,
discipling each other as they serve together.
Yeah.
And that's really at the heart of all of this.
Yes, it is.
Is how are we growing as disciples? Because that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So, all that to say, there are a lot of opportunities to serve here at Westway. One of the things we didn't mention is we are wanting to get a list of people's names and what your talents and skills are. And so, say somebody comes and says, I know an elderly person who needs some help with painting their house or something like that. Then we have this list of people that say we like to paint.
Are you calling me elderly?
No, but does your house need painted? I know that mine did a year or two ago. But anyway, to be able to go to those people that say, I like to do this, and give them opportunity to use that talent. And so we're working on a system of trying to keep track of that. And when somebody comes with a need, then we can connect them with the people that love to do that and have the skills to do that. And so that's something else we're working on.
Yeah. So what else do we have coming up? Are we ready for... I think we've beat this horse probably enough.
Yeah.
If you need to find an area to serve and have a hard time, I would say in all honesty, talk to any of the elders or pastors, and we have all kinds of things that we can...
Or call the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, 635-2654. Almost forgot it, but 635-2654. You can call the office and Megan will get you connected with one of us. And we will help you to find that opportunity to serve. Some of the upcoming events. This was the last Sunday. John just finished up this series. Yeah. And so through the month of September, we're actually going to use 3 Sundays this month to do a short series. And... it's on a book that you may not expect us to do it on. And I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because we get to do it in that way. But also it's going to be fun because it is the last book of the Old Testament, Malachi. And so we will introduce that this Sunday. And
it's been interesting how we first started talking several months ago about what are we going to do after this series is done, and we started talking about doing a series on family ministry and how the church as a whole is engaged in family ministry. And I wouldn't say that it has morphed away from that, but it definitely has gone in different directions than at least what I first had in mind. As I was digging through the book of Malachi, there is so much there that is so contemporary for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk about that in the next few weeks. I
Yeah.
don't want to go into all of that, but it's been interesting. It's been fun to dig into Malachi a little bit. So this Sunday, Joe and I will do a read through and talk briefly through some of the main things in Malachi and kind of set the stage. And then the week after that, I'll preach through the first 2 chapters, and then Joe will wrap up the last 2 chapters after that. And yeah, we're really gonna take a look at the hope of God that He offers us and the love of God that He offers us as they experience that through Malachi's words, and how does that shape not just how I minister to my family, but how do we as a body of Christ minister and reach every generation? Because every generation deserves an opportunity to understand and experience the love and the hope of God. Because there is so much that they will never know about themselves and about the life that they're living without understanding Him. And so, we're excited to do that. And then following that, we have a great opportunity for service. The last Sunday of September.
On the 27th, we are going to have a food pack again. And many have asked, are we going to do that again? Are we going to do that? And we had that planned for March, and in March it was not a possibility. But now we've come up with a plan and a little more freedom, if you will. And so we will have 2 groups doing food pack. One starting at 8 o'clock in the morning on the 27th on that Sunday morning, and another group starting at around 10 o'clock. And in between the 2 groups, we'll have a communion service. And so you'll be hearing more about that and seeing more about that in lots of our media opportunities. And our goal is still to match what we did last year of a little over 33,000 meals. And we believe we can do it.
So we're going to have 2 different sessions.
You'll have to sign up.
And this is where I was going. I want to make sure and clarify.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a early session and a later session.
Yes.
Do I have to pick between one or the other?
When you sign up, you will need to pick between one or the other.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a capacity issue.
Right.
We want to still be socially distanced as much as we can. I know, Jim, I hate that phrase too. I'm sorry. We're trying to be physically distant as much as we can in this process. And we're going to do it in a way that allows us to do this safely. Part of that is having fewer people in the packing area at a time.
Right, in the gymnasium.
And so we'll have 2 different registrations set up. So you'll choose the 8-something time slot or the 10-something time slot. And I apologize, I don't know what the times are.
Well, the first group will need to be here at 8, and the second group will need to be here at actually 9:50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're still going to meet in the middle between those for a time of communion together.
Yes.
In between the 2 service times.
Right.
And when I say service times, I mean serving times.
Yeah. And so that's coming up on the 27th. On the 13th, we are going to have a church picnic here at the building following the service over the lunch hour. And there will also be sign-ups. There were actually this last Sunday, but opportunities to sign up for the picnic, and that too is very important that you sign up for that.
So there's a sheet on the sign-up table, which is the really nice looking kind of live edge table in the lobby.
Just before you go into the gym.
Yep. That's the sign-up table, registration table. And so there's a sheet there that you can sign up in. There also is an online form that you can sign up your family on. We just need you to do one or the other. You don't have to make sure you do both. But, please make sure that you do that, so we make sure and have enough food and stuff ready. When we do this, it's going to be a little different than we usually do it, because we're not having everybody bring a bunch of food, bring your own favorite thing.
Right.
We are going to have all the food prepared and here. John Thomas is still going to roast the hog like he has the last several years.
And his small group's going to help him with that.
His small group's going to help him with that.
They're going to serve.
See, there's that theme again.
Yep.
It just keeps coming. And so we need to make sure and have enough stuff and have enough tables set up. We'll have tables set up in the gym, but we're also going to have tables set up and seating outside, kind of out by the fire pit. There's some seating available already. We might put up some shade areas out there. We're going to put up we have some tables in the amp that we'll set up for people to sit at. So we'll be spread out all over the campus here, I guess, but we will be doing it here at our facility instead of meeting at a park.
Right.
So.
Yep. The Memorial Garden will be open for people to eat there also on that picnic day.
You might have to be one of the first ones there, though. There's not very many seats in the garden.
Yep. But you will be outside, so sort of. There is another opportunity for grandparents or those who are coming close to being grandparents. I don't think there's any real age level limit on this, but we had originally planned to, in September, have a legacy grandparenting summit where we were going to stream live from where they were doing this. An awesome opportunity for grandparents to be encouraged as they continue to have influence in the lives of their children and grandchildren. And how do we disciple our children and grandchildren even while we're grandparents? And so there's, in place of that summit, they are offering online video that you can view either at home, or we're going to have 2 viewing opportunities here at Westway. The first one will be September 17th in the morning, beginning at 8 o'clock. I'll be hosting that session. There is 3 hours of material there. And so with breaks and taking a few minutes to discuss the sessions, we'll probably go all morning with that. And that'll be on September 17th, beginning at 8 o'clock in the morning here at Westway. We will do it again, the same material, following the church service on the 20th. And that will be here in the church building also. And we'll have lunch for those that want to stay to do that. And we'll be letting you know this week and next week on how you can sign up to be a part of that. And so that is also coming up this month. So we have a lot of things that we're doing this month.
So get engaged in what you can, because this is all geared for making disciples and helping you learn and grow and make disciples.
Yeah.
We don't just spectate. We're in the game, all of us, and you've got a role to play, and the activities that we plan really are just our efforts to help you grow into your role and play the part that you are made for.
Yeah, I love the passage you used when I was thinking about what we were going to do today, and we didn't discuss it using any particular scripture, but I went to Romans 12, and it talks about that body and how each part of the body has a function. And what we want to do is we want to give you opportunity to gather as a body to discover the function that God has for you.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I do want to mention is be watching our media, Facebook, the emails that we send out weekly, what do I want to call it? Presentations on the screen that scrolls before a church service starts. So when you come into the auditorium, there's announcements, I guess, scrolling on the screen of things that are going on. Look at those. There will be instructions on what's coming up and what we should be doing. There will be more information about all of these things that we've been talking about in a little more detail, and contact information that you can get in touch with us if you have questions. And so there are 3 more small groups going to be starting up in the middle of September also. One on Monday night. That I want to plug because I'm going to be leading that one. But we're going to be watching the series, The Chosen, and discussing how does that apply to us? How can we utilize that series? And if you haven't watched it, when I watched it the first time, 2 things happened. I was challenged to look at the scripture from a different angle. And I think that's a good thing. And then I was encouraged because it became evident that God has chosen us also. And what does that mean? And so those are things we'll be discussing. And then there'll be a couple of other groups that haven't been meeting that will be starting up again. A Wednesday night group led by John Thomas and Mark Scanlon. And then also a Thursday night group led by Dave Parrish. And so those are for sure groups that will be starting up. There's another 1 or 2 that are thinking about it but haven't made the decisions yet as to when and those kind of things. But be watching for information on those.
Unless there's anything else you want to announce, I think we're done.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's I know we flooded you with tons of information today. But I hope that something jumped out at you and said, you know what, I'd like to know more about that. And if you do, you can contact us. The pastor's emails are easy to remember. It's our name and at westwaychurch.com. So Joe at westwaychurch.com, Mike at westwaychurch.com, John at westwaychurch.com, Shane at westwaychurch.com. And so that's one way you can contact us for information.
Or leave a comment here and we'll see it.
Yeah. Yep. We'll look at it and answer it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for watching for those of you that watch later on. And yeah, hope to see you around. That's
at one of these gatherings. Have a great week. God bless.
See you later.